Even if you know the love languages already, it is such a great idea to refresh yourself again. It was really helpful for me to read it again recently. So the 5 love languages, a guy named Dr. Gary Chapman identified 5 love languages. He is an author and a radio talk host and a pastor, and he's the one who found out how we give and receive love in 5 different ways. And he wrote the book on love. Oh. Do you want to explain what it is?
Okay, so here's what it is. So the principle is that everybody has a primary love language, right? So there's 5 main ones, and I suppose the main thing to think of is they're all good, right? It's not like ice cream where there's chocolate, vanilla, and then aniseed that nobody likes at the end or something, right? So 5 love languages are all good. There's just going to be one that resonates with you more than the other ones, and it's a bit like a regular language. Like if Pauline spoke English and I spoke Swahili click tongue or something, and we're both talking to each other, and she's going hello and I'm going, and we're both speaking to each other as well as we can, and they're both legitimate languages, but the message just won't get across because you're not speaking the other person's language.
The cool thing about love languages is that, you know, God created us this way. He created us to give and receive love, and these are the ways that we do give and receive love. And it's important because Jesus asked us to do 2 things, and that was love God and love people. And when we understand better how to love people, it means that we have better relationships, we have stronger marriages, we have better relationships with our kids when they're little that grow into fruition when they're older, and it means that we can model stronger marriages for our kids too, which they really need today. So we're going to get into it now. Let's go.
All right, so here's how it works. You got it?
No, the love tank is what we're up to.
Oh, yes. All right, so think of inside everybody that you have a tank that holds love. Let's call it the love tank. And you can sing, love tank, baby love tank, if you want to sing that. I think that's how the song goes. This is a scientifically accurate diagram here on the side that you can see what it looks like inside you. But what it really is when your love tank is full, meaning that your significant other or whoever is speaking your love language out of the 5, that's when your relationships really start to flourish. And when it's empty, that's when things start to really dry up and it feels like nothing is going your way. So in the beginning, and a lot of us will be past this stage now, but in the beginning when you first meet your other person, for those first 2 years, that's really the in-love experience, right? So that's when it's all like, I love you, I love you, I love you, you hang up first, no, you hang up first, schmoopy, 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 and that's the way you are at those beginning, and that's like a fast burn of throwing, dry grass on a fire. It's intense and it's crazy, but after 2 years, it kind of fiddles away. And if you don't have, good, genuine love language love in your tank after that, then you're in trouble. So that's what we're about. And then after that first 2 years, you start moving into what Gary in the book calls real love. And that's where that is. And
by the way, I'm called Moo because we actually did call each other Schmoopy 20 years ago. So lots of people call me Moo now because 20 years ago my nickname was Schmoopy. So in the book, Gary says a really interesting thing. He says, love is a choice. And when I first read that, something in me went, no, hang on a second. Like, you're supposed to fall in love and then be in love. Like, that's the idea. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized, no, it is a choice. Like Jesus says, love your enemy. That's a choice. Love the unlovely. That's a choice. And loving the people that we love is still a choice every single day to take action to do that. And he also says that true love can't begin until that in-love experience is done and you move into the real relationship where the action takes place, where you are making the choice to love that person every single day. And there's a guy, Dr. Ross Campbell, he's a child psychiatrist, and he talks about children having love tanks as well. And the thing that he said was, inside every child is an emotional tank waiting to be filled with love. Much of the misbehavior of children is motivated by the cravings of an empty love tank. And I've seen that in my own kids. I have a little story that I'll share at the end around that. But I think that even in adults, it's the same deal. If our love tank is not full, we'll still misbehave. It's just that the misbehavior looks different. It'll look like distance in your marriage, or feeling resentful or frustrated or disappointed or even angry. And we'll say things like, oh, the love is gone from our relationship. And what we really mean is the love tank is empty. they're not speaking my language. And that can make us sometimes then go look for the in-love experience somewhere else. But love is a choice.
And Gary also says that it's the kind of thing where you say, he says, beware, because as you start filling each other's love tank in the way that they really can understand it, your whole, it's kind of a joke, but he says, beware, your whole dynamic of your relationship is going to change. And people start acting weird and they'll start doing things that are good, but it's a good,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so, and as we go through these, like we said, there's 5 of them. One of them is probably definitely going to stick out a lot for you personally. And so I guess hear the 5 and kind of self-diagnose yourself, self-diagnose as we go on. You'll be like, that's definitely me. And then, if you've got the brain power left for it, try to diagnose your partner as well, because that's really what is going to make things great. Because when you understand someone else, then you can communicate with them correctly.
And your kids and your nieces and your nephews, everyone around you has a love language, a primary love language. And you can do the quiz online, but honestly, you'll probably figure it out as you go along.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Yeah.
So, okay, first one. Slide number 1, please. First one is words of affirmation. Okay, so that's compliments, appreciation, encouragements, and kind words. So I'll talk about this one because this one's definitely me. This is the one that I come out highest at. I love to encourage people, and I love to be encouraged. So that ticks all the boxes for me. But it's probably easy to lump this one to kind of reduce it down to something very simple when it's a bit more deep than that. It's easy to think of it as just compliments like, hey, your shoes are nice, or hey, nice haircut, or whatever. And I never think of it as something kind of vapid or meaningless, because you've got compliments and everyone knows what that is. Hey, Sam, your hair looks great. I'll take it, thanks, that's nice. But if you go down to the next level, you've got appreciation, right? So a compliment is a compliment. Appreciation would be maybe Pauline saying, hey, Hatchie, I'm really grateful for the amount of work you put in to make our date nights happen. Okay, so that's a compliment, but it's also, she's noticed what I've done, and she's telling me that she's appreciated that thing that I've done. And then, let's go a level deeper, that's encouragement. So that would be, let's say, same example, she might say, hey, Sam, your solar business is great. You could totally franchise that. Look how well you've done with what you've got. And that's a compliment. It's an appreciation because she's noticed. And then it's like, I'm thinking about you so much that I'm even thinking about your future. I'm encouraging to where you could be. So I suppose words of affirmation is a lot more than just a throwaway, hey, that's nice type thing. Like there's a lot more to it. And the big thing about this is that it sounds obvious, but the person whose love language is words of affirmation, like they need to hear it. I mean, you can't think it, you can't say, you can't show it, you can't like do a little thing that makes them notice it. Like they got to hear these words. And that's why this particular, brand of love language is really their thing. So it's got to be verbal.
For me, so I'm not a very high words of affirmation person, and I didn't grow up, I grew up in a great home, but we didn't do words of encouragement in my home. If anything, if you said something encouraging, it kind of got turned into a bit of a joke, so you just didn't say nice stuff. So it's hard, it's a challenge. It's not always going to be easy to speak someone else's love language. It might make you feel really uncomfortable, and I've had to learn over the last 18 years how to say nice things. I know it sounds silly, but it's hard for me. It feels like I'm putting myself out there. So we do have to learn to do it, and it takes practice. And if you want a little bit of a how-to, set a goal to give your words of affirmation person a word of affirmation every day for a month, and just see what happens. And if you say a nice thing about them in front of someone else, it's double points. If you say it in front of their mum, it's like, woo! Yeah.
But it's going to be hard to do because it's not going to be everybody's vibe. But remember that people, it's hard to do, but just do it, right? Because you got to just do it. So, because people are the most important thing. All right, let's go to number 2.
Yep, okay. So the next one is quality time. So this is what the little AV that we saw was about. So quality time, people love spending focused time together, quality conversation, and sympathetic dialogue. Ooh, we're going to talk about sympathetic dialogue. Quality time is my second highest love language, so I get this one. And in the book, Gary gives a really great example of a husband who worked so much to get to the top of his company that he didn't have any time to spend with his wife, who they then found out was quality time. And Gary said to him, well, when you get to the top of the company, do you want to be there alone or with your wife? So if we don't do the things that we have to do to fill each other's love tank, be prepared to get to the end and have no one to share it with. So what does it look like for a quality time person? It looks like doing stuff together, intentional time together. Go out for lunch, go away for a weekend, chat intentionally while you cook dinner without distractions, without picking up your phone every 5 seconds. Spending time as a family is really important for quality time people. Seeing that, like a quality time person seeing someone spending time with the family is really important for them, if that makes sense. Going on a picnic without complaining the whole time. It's not quality time if you're whinging about the mozzies the whole time or the ants. Take a holiday with the family every year, go for a walk. It doesn't really matter what the activity is as long as the time is quality together. But it's not enough to just be in the same room or someone in the laundry and someone in the kitchen. It has to be together. There's got to be an emotional connection. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for the imparting of feelings and dialogue and a connection, but it doesn't mean you have to have a deep and meaningful every time. It just means that you're connecting on that level. And when it says sympathetic dialogue, that means that you don't sit there and listen to a quality time person and try to fix them. It means that you listen and you understand and you say, I hear what you're saying, but you don't try to give advice, you don't try to make the problem better. They don't want that. They just want to hear that you are there and listening to them.
That's definitely my problem in the way of like Pauline will be telling me something, I'll go, no worries, I can fix that. And I'll say, you should do this and this and this and this. And I don't want you to fix that. I just want you to listen to it.
Right, that was a lesson that we had to learn about that. And so the how-to on that is just plan to make time together. And if you're too busy, it really doesn't matter. You have to do it. If you want to fill the tank of the person that you love, you make the time. And the reason for that is because people are the most important thing.
Now, if we missed something before though, put your hand up. Remember the first one was words of affirmation. So, we're not going to hold you to it, but put your hand up if you feel like that might be you, if you're a words of affirmation person.
Yeah, there's a few.
All right, and then quality time. Who would say they're a quality time person?
You can pick it. Like some people putting their hand up, and I'm like, yep. Some are more obvious than others. All right, let's move to the next one.
All right, now number 3 is receiving gifts. Okay, so receiving gifts is symbols of thoughtfulness. The monetary value doesn't matter, and you can be the gift. Okay, so Paul and I struggle with this one the most in the way of, getting our notes together or whatnot, because neither of us are really this deal, and it really highlights when something's not your love language. It's a bit of a grind to understand it a bit more. You know what I mean? Like some come very easy, and some you have to really have a think about it. Okay, so the big thing about receiving gifts is the old saying of like it's the thought that counts. That's 100% sums this one up. Because it's not about the thing, it's about the thought behind the thing, right? So people whose love language is gifts, it's about, they see the gift, it's almost like they don't see the gift as in it's a bunch of flowers or whatnot. All they see is that's a visual representation of your love. Like it's a thing that transmits your love to them, I guess.
A really great example is the wedding ring. So at your wedding ceremony, you will stand next to each other and you will give each other a ring, and the words you say are, I give you this ring as a symbol of my love. That's exactly how a receiving gifts person sees things that they are given, as a symbol of love.
Right, and when it says there that monetary value doesn't matter, so, that is really true about it. So you might think, let's say, you're headed down to the beach and you grab a seashell and you take it back to your partner and say, hey, this seashell reminds me of that time that we went to Thailand, and wasn't that an awesome holiday? And I thought you might like it. And obviously a seashell is worth $0, right? So it's nothing to do with the money, but it's that thought of like, I saw that, it made me think of you, I spent the effort to like get it, bring it back, wash it, give it to you, get the crab out of it, and here's your shell, right? And so, and that, the thing is nothing, but the thought is everything. And if you're married to a gifty person and you're maybe someone who's a saver and not a spender money-wise, you might have to start changing your vibe about money in relation to that. So an example would be, things that you might think are a waste of money are not a waste of money for them, right? So let's say flowers. Everyone knows that you buy flowers and, a week later, like, they're dead, they're gone. So, Len, the accountant, would say that is a waste of money, but to a gifts person, it means the world. So you've got to change your attitude towards money when it comes to those guys.
It took me a little while, it took me a long time to realize that my mum is a receiving gifts person. And I realize now, growing up, she bought me a book every single week of my childhood. Like, I thought it was normal for every kid to have 280 Babysitters Club books and like just shelves and shelves of books. She was always buying me stuff, and even growing up when I was older, she would always buy something from the Avon catalogue and give it to me, a lip balm or something. And one year when I was really young, we were on holidays and we forgot her birthday. And she brought it up for decades. Like, she never forgot it. And I was always like, Mum, let it go. I was like 10. But the reason that it hurt her so much and it stayed with her was because birthdays are an opportunity for her to receive gifts that show her that symbol of love. And it was an opportunity that we missed, and it actually hurt her that we had forgotten her birthday. And so now I'm very intentional about making sure that every gift I give her is really special. And even Mother's Day this year, we were in lockdown. I made sure to send her this big, beautiful hamper of different, cheeses and wine and stuff like that, just because I knew that she needs that. She needs to see that. A phone call's not enough for her. So that's how we can speak love languages. It really is everybody. It's your parents, your kids, your own siblings. Everybody has a love language that we can speak to them to fill their tank from every direction.
Right, so how do you do this one? I mean, it is pretty simple, as in you think about them, and when you see something, you grab it, or if it's a shell, or if it's a present, or if it's a note, or if it's you can be the gift if you're coming to help them out with something like that. But just remember that it's not a waste of money, and it's not a waste of time for that person. So even if it's not your love language, once again, just do it, because people are the most important thing.
All right, so who thinks that they might be a gifts person? Some people are pointing to other people, so that's awesome. Yep.
That's good. You should be able to be able to tell about yourself and then your partner as well, because that's why we're doing this.
It's pretty easy to start to see what you are. So we're going to move on to the next one, which in my personal opinion is the best one, and that's the acts of service people. Yeah, can you guess what I am? I'm an acts of service person. I like to get my hands dirty.
I call it acts of slavitude at my house.
So acts of service people show love by doing. It can be literally any activity. There's a caveat. There should be a little asterisk next to activity. That's okay. And it says, I'm thinking of you. So yeah, acts of service people, it's pretty obvious. We show love by doing things, by serving people. We're the people who say actions speak louder than words. And we'll donate our time to anything, make meals for people, all that sort of stuff. That really brings us a lot of joy to do that. So we also receive love by having things done for us, but that does not mean that you can call it acts of slavitude and feel like you have to serve an acts of service person forever in order to fill their tank and just become a doormat that you have to do everything for them. It's about doing things that are important to that person. That's why it says can be literally any activity, but it doesn't have to be every activity. So for example, if I came home and Sam had cleaned the entire house from top to bottom, I would walk in and go, oh great job honey, that looks nice. But it wouldn't actually fill my tank, even though he'd done 400 jobs technically in that.
And I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
No credit.
I discovered this a few months ago. I was sick and I was lying on the couch at night and Sam was in the kitchen making dinner. Kids were screaming, it was chaos. I was sick, but I'm lying there going, I am so happy right now because Sam is making dinner. So you make me dinner, my love tank is full. That's one of my activities that it just fills up my tank to have someone serve me dinner. It's the thought behind it. So that's a special thing. That's an example of one for me.
And coffee.
And serve me coffee and I'll also be very happy.
All yours are based around food.
They are food-based. I don't know why that is. But I have another example. A friend of ours in America, she's an acts of service person, and she put a post up on Facebook a couple of years ago saying that how much she appreciated that her husband would get in her car, drive her car to the petrol station, fill it up and bring it back so that it was always full for her. And that was one of the activities that filled her tank. That was not deliberate. That filled her tank was having him do that, to the point where she went and posted it on Facebook, which probably really helped his little words of affirmation heart as well. So it can be lots of different things. And if you don't know what your acts of service person's activities are, what their meaningful activities are, you can just ask. It's not a secret that you have to try to uncover. Just say, honey, or look at your kids and say, well, what's something that I could do for you that makes you really feel appreciated and seen and known and loved. Just ask. There'll probably be 3 or 4 that are really meaningful, and then you focus on those ones. It honestly can be as simple as like vacuuming once a week or something. Oh yeah, so my dad is also an acts of service person, and when I was growing up, we used to make the most crazy school projects. Like, you just would not believe the quality of the projects that we used to create together. And some of my best memories of my dad, and the reason that we have such a great relationship, is because when he would spend hours and hours and hours with me while we planned these projects, bought the stuff, made it all, is because he was speaking my language by helping me. And he didn't even know, because he's acts of service as well. So he was speaking his language, but it was filling my tank because he was serving me in a way that filled my tank, gave me the quality time, and that created a great relationship for me with my dad.
And even now, like Paul and I have been married for 18 years, and we have a great relationship with both our families. But even now, Pauline's dad, he's not maybe the easiest guy to just sit down and chat to, but I can call him up any time and say, hey, can you help me, fix this deck or whatnot? And he'll be straight there, and then we can talk all day while we're doing a thing that he's helping me with. And I could tell that really unlocks him, I guess. So, yeah. I mean, even to this day, that's how the best way to communicate with him.
Yeah, love languages really are the best way and the easiest way to strengthen all relationships around you.
How do you do it?
So the easy way to do this is find out those meaningful activities and just start doing them. And if you don't like doing the activity, like you don't like making dinner, doesn't matter. You do it anyway, because people are the most important thing. So I know some of you already put your hands up, but who's an acts of service person? You love to put your hand up because it means you're doing something. Yes, 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 yes.
No, they want someone else to put their hand up for them. Oh, thanks.
All right, next one is yours.
Next one. Okay, this one is hot physical action. Oh, no, sorry, physical touch.
I told them not to say that.
I've gone totally down the wrong track here on mine. Okay, so it's physical touch, which is all forms of touch, and some touches for people are going to have more impact than others. It's pretty simple, but these people, you all know them because they are the touchy-feely people. Rather than a curt handshake, they give you a hug. If we need an example of that, we have Wendy. Also, we have me. So there's people who are Hank and Nicole, right? I don't know if she is, but I think she's a physical touch person, and we have a hug. Man, it's a mighty hug. Hank is okay with it. It's fine. So physical touch takes all forms, and it's simple. It's a hand on the leg, or with not just anyone. Okay.
Caveat.
With your workmate, with your boss, with the guy on the train. So with your significant other, it's a hug, it's a hand on the leg, it's a touch on the shoulder. It's something that just lets you know, you'll know that person is a physical touch person, and when you do those things to them, it really is more than just that. Like, there's something more to them than just the touch. And it really does speak their love language to it.
I'm just going to throw something in there. Actually, I hope Beth is okay with me saying this. So Beth is a physical touch person, if you know Beth. And she was saying
where's
to
Beth?
me...
We should hug.
Yeah. And last week she was saying to me after church, because we were talking about love languages, and she said that someone came up to her and just said hello, but just like slung an arm across her shoulder as he said it. And she was like, oh yeah, that's it. That's what I needed. Like, it really can be something as simple as that.
And with yesterday, our boys were sitting at the computer and they were playing a game together. And I went up, just as an experiment, actually. I meant to film it, but I didn't. I went up behind them and I put a hand on both of their heads at the exact same time and just like ruffled their hair. And our youngest one went and like melted into my hand. And the oldest one went, yeah, like I was burning him type thing. So you could totally tell, they grew up in the same house, but they have they're completely different love languages.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I forgot to say, Max, our oldest, is quality time, and he just needs to be with you. But if you try to touch him, he will recoil like you are a viper. So he's clearly zero physical touch. And I'm 0 on my test. I came out 0 physical touch. And people who know me well know I have a little bit of a bubble. I do literally have like give me a space bubble here, don't come too close. But I've had to learn to be physical touch because that's his second love language.
Right, and Jed, our youngest kid, like I was saying, he loves it. And there's times when, he's real mad about something. I don't know, like he has to go to bed or something.
He's only 9, he has tanties.
Oh, I'm just so mad. And he hops in bed, and I go up to him and I go, what about a cuddle? Oh, I don't want to cuddle. Well, I'm going to give you a cuddle anyway. And I give him a cuddle. Oh, get off. Do you really want me to get off? No. All right, well, give me my cuddle, but I'm still mad about it, type thing. And like you just touch his back and he just starts melting into it, and you break him down.
Yeah.
Okay, so how to do it? It's obvious. So if your person is a physical touch person, even if you don't like it, just do it, because that's their love language, and you're starving them if you don't. And obviously, there's a caveat here of if you have something in your past with abuse or something like that. Don't take it too lightly. See someone about that. But I'm saying for someone who doesn't have that, it's something where you just have to see your person's love language and do it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So who here says that they would be a physical touch person?
Ooh, there's a lot.
It's kind of a lot.
That's a lot.
Church people are very touchy-feely. All right.
Just
Okay.
please do remember social distancing at this time, though, now that you all know who, who you are.
Can we do this or not? We can do that quickly.
Okay. Sam,
All right.
the socialite, wants to do a
I want to do
party
this.
activity.
If you're a words of affirmation person, give me a good on you, mate.
You have to call it out.
Call it out. All right. If you're a quality time person, give me a look at me. All right. If you are a receiving gifts person, give me a cha-ching.
Even
All
though it's
right.
not
If
about
you're
money.
acts of service, how about a you're welcome? If you're a physical touch person, how about a All right. Everybody's physical touch. See?
I hope you were all doing that at home. No one can see you there.
All right. Let's wrap it up.
All right, so those are the love languages. I really hope that you were able to see yourself in there and also the people in your world that you love, because they're such simple ways to show each other real love and be speaking the same language to each other. And it will change the climate of your whole home when you start really seeing and speaking languages that the other person needs. And it will change the strength of your relationship. And in the book, if you do read the 5 Love Languages book, Gary has so many examples of marriages that were on the brink that came back when they started speaking each other's love languages, and it didn't take long. So over the last couple of weeks, I did a bit of an experiment with my kids. So in our home, we have at least 4, potentially 5 of the love languages amongst our family of 5. Only our 5-year-old daughter, I'm not sure if she's words of affirmation or gifts. If she's gifts, that is it. We have the complete set just in our family.
So no one can understand each other.
Yeah, so we're all speaking different languages, right? But over the last 2 weeks, I spent every single day, I made sure to really intentionally speak each child's love language. And the difference in their behaviour was really amazing. Like Max is quality time, he's 12, and I was going to hang out some washing, and he was started talking to me about something about his day. And normally I would have just gone, busy, mum, I've got to go, come with me and I'll hang the washing out while you talk. But instead, I stopped, I put the basket down, I sat on the couch, he sat down, and for 10 minutes we talked about that thing. And that is what he needed. And I noticed then that he started asking to do more things with me, just coming in the car to go shopping. And it's like it opened up a gateway for him to then feel he could access that quality time with me. And we had much more quality conversations. And same with Jet, he's 9, he's our physical touch kid. I made sure to just like lather him with physical touch anytime I could. And then for a couple of days we were really busy and I didn't get around to sort of doing it as much. And he actually got really physically distant from me. He almost didn't want me to touch him, and I had to work at calming the beast and get back into it. And I noticed his behaviour changed.
Sounds getting real low.
His behaviour really changed when I stopped speaking his love language. And with Josie, I just made sure to really compliment her and see the things that she was doing. So I'm not sure exactly what her language is yet. And she always takes it so well. She's always like, thank you. Like she just takes compliments really well. Yep. She takes them on board. Okay, so we're going to finish up, but I just want to share one more thing that I think really highlights how important this is. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. She had been married for 20 odd years. She's now in her 60s, and this was probably about 10 years ago that this conversation happened. She was doing we were just catching up, having coffee. She's a quality time person, and she was doing a bit of a marriage autopsy. She was kind of going, what fell apart, what happened? And I don't remember anything about the conversation other than this one thing that she said. He was always touching me. He would sit next to me and he'd put his hand on my leg, or he'd be touching my back, or he'd be rubbing my hair, and I'd just be like, oh, can you stop touching me? And I've always remembered that because I think he was always trying to speak to her in his love language, which was physical touch. He was away a lot for work, so he was never speaking her love language of quality time, and their marriage completely disintegrated. And it just shows that they were speaking, he was speaking English, she was speaking Swahili, and they never, ever, ever understood that they were not speaking each other's language. So the love may have been there, but they weren't actually filling each other's love tank, ever. So it just kind of shows how important this stuff is. It's not trivial. It really can be make or break sometimes, how we choose to love people and whether we choose to put it into action. And all of the languages, like we said, are valid. There's none that are better or greater than the other. Everybody has one predominant one, and that's the one we need to focus on. And it's important that we speak the right one because people are the most important thing. Jesus said, love God, love people. So let's focus on loving people. Okay, so that's it from us. There's so much more as well that we can do to strengthen our marriages, and we're going to watch an AV now that's all about SYMBIS. So the 5 love languages, definitely one way to do it, and you can find that book pretty much anywhere, Kurong online, it's all out there. And Ruth is going to talk a little more about this, but have a look at this, and let's look at another way that we can strengthen our relationships. Thanks, everyone.
That's it.
Boy meets girl. Sparks fly. And, well, you know the rest. They fall in love, get married, get a dog, make babies, and live happily ever after. At least we hope so. But now, you can do more than hope. You can buck the odds to safeguard your relationship and build a love that not only goes the distance, but fulfills your deepest dreams. More than 1 million couples worldwide have benefited from saving your marriage before it starts. SYMBIS for short. And with the SYMBIS assessment, you'll receive your own personalized map for making your marriage everything it was meant to be. Crack the code for joining your personality strengths. Learn to speak each other's language fluently. Find the secrets for a lifetime of deep passion and fantastic sex. Don't buy the lie that says, love is all you need. Experts all agree. Working on your relationship right at the start is smart. In fact, it reduces the risk of divorce by 31% and instills honeymoon habits that pay off for decades. And it's easier than ever. Just take our quick questionnaire and let us do the rest. In short, save your marriage before it starts and start living your happily ever after today. SymBisAssessment.com.
Yes, so SYMBIS is fantastic. It's all about saving a marriage before it starts, but they also have something called SYMBIS Plus, which is for people who are already married. And this is something that as a church we've been offering over the last 12 months. We were just exploring it and checking it out. We've had a number of couples go through it now with really great feedback from them about what they have learned about one another. And so what we wanted to do today was just to share it with you, to let you know that this is available. It's another great resource and tool that might be really helpful for you, whether you are engaged, whether you are thinking about getting engaged, or whether you've been married, just for a few years or for a long time. There is some fantastic stuff within this SYMBIS course. I think that, it talks a lot about communication, about conflict. It talks a little bit about the love languages, emotional intelligence, all of those things that work together to help create a healthy relationship. So I would highly recommend it. We've got some great facilitators that have gone through the training. And what it would look like is that you just let us know that you're keen to do it. There's an online assessment, and then there would be a follow-up 3 or 4 sessions with one of our facilitators. So.
Yeah, cool. When we were doing our pre-marriage course, we kind of looked at it like we're doing this thing once, so why not do everything we can to make sure it lasts?
Absolutely.
Whether it's pre-marriage or post-marriage, there's never too much marriage courses you can really go through. You can only make your marriage better by going through these courses.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good investment.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
No other better investment.
Indeed. So you can let us know. If you're watching online, just pop a little text into your hosts and let them know. And if you're in the room, come and see one of us over at the desk or flick us through an email. Before we go any further, though, how great did
cool.
Sam and Pauline do? Would you? I know
Yes.
in the room you can acknowledge them. Online, you can tell them they did a great job.
Yeah.
Well done, guys. It was great. Did you know much about love languages,
Yeah,
Trevor?
I think obviously Portia loves figuring out these types of things, which is my wife. And so we talk about these things, but it's always inspiring to go back through it and go, oh, okay, yeah, those are definitely mine. But what I really liked was that you can go through the book or even online is just going through and starting to dig a bit deeper. Like what Sam was saying, yeah, it's surface level for words, but it's actually more than that. There's more below the surface that actually brings out the words of affirmation and things like that. So actually spending the time digging deeper, figuring out, okay, if someone's physical touch, how can I actually do that really well and not just the old hand on the lap kind of thing? How can I do it better? And that obviously works in relationships, but also if you're not in relationships, finding out what you think your friends might be as well. Because it doesn't have to just be an intimate relationship, it's all relationships.
Absolutely. I love that Pauline even mentioned that, everyone has a love language. And for me, I don't have any kids, but I have 5 awesome nieces and nephews. And so to know what their love languages are, and as I spend time with them, it's really cool. And everyone is in a relationship of some kind. And so the more that we can speak their language and not English and Swahili, as Moo said, the easier it becomes to be in relationships that are actually life-giving and, that are growing.
Yeah,
So.
and I like the statement, just do it. We're not always going to enjoy doing those things, but we can get joy from doing it because we know that person's going to value it. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure from today you probably got an idea of what love language you are. We did actually post a little link on our church Facebook page this week, and you can go on that as well, and there's like a little online assessment which is a little bit fun, and you can see what your results are and see if you are what you think you are from hearing Sam and Pauline share today. So very cool. Speaking of online, if you are online with us at the moment and you would like some live prayer for something perhaps that you're going through in your world, then please let us know. You can click the prayer button and our hosts would love to pray with you. If you're in the room with us this morning, same story. We are here. It looks a little different. We have to say that, we can't necessarily lay hands on you like perhaps we would in the past, but there is no distance in the spirit. And so we would love the opportunity to pray with you this morning if that's something that would be helpful to you.
yeah.
Did we want to say anything else, Taylor?
Yeah, we obviously need to pray for Pastor Arnell's family.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, so Pastor Arnell, as you know, is a mission partner that we have over in the Philippines. He sadly passed away last week, quite unexpectedly. But I did want to let you all know that his wife just gave birth to their little baby boy just last week. So, and then they were able to celebrate his life on Sunday with a big sort of community celebration. So please continue to pray for Pastor Arnell's family and his church work over there as they sort of figure out what it all looks like now that he is with his Heavenly Father.
Yeah, I got the privilege to meet him when we were over in the Philippines last time, and him and his family were just this beautiful family. He just loved serving. He just loved the community, the kids that he was feeding, and his heart was just for God's people, and that's obviously why the church decided to partner with him, because he had a heart for God's people, and he was an incredible man. So when I saw that, I was absolutely devastated, but I know he's obviously with our Heavenly Father, and that's the end goal, really.
Absolutely, and it's been great to see how much support that the family are getting, and I wanted to thank you guys as well for your support of them financially, but also really importantly prayerfully at this time. Would you pray for...
Yes.
Thank you, Taylor.
Lord, we just lift up Pastor Arnell's family, Lord. We just pray that you be with them in this time and just give them this supernatural peace that they just surpasses their understanding in this confusing time, Lord. I just pray that your work continues to be done through this family, Lord, and that all the work that he has done in this community will not wear off, and he will just be remembered as this man that led the way that you wanted him to lead, Father, and that he was obedient and he was living how you wanted him to live as like Jesus, Lord. And I just thank you for everything he did, Lord, and the lives that he changed and he impacted, Lord, in his time here with us, Lord, in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. That's really all we had to say this morning, but I did want to quickly mention that we are launching a brand new series next week.
Yes.
It is Parakletos, and we're going to be looking at the who behind the what of an abundant life. So over the coming weeks, we'll be exploring the power of the Holy Spirit and his role in and through us. So you won't want to miss it. So you can jump online early in the week when we release the seats for in the auditorium here. Or, again, you can join us online on any of the platforms. So, yeah.
And remember, the ministry is about to begin, but avoid the physical touch, people, because we're not allowed to do that stuff right now. So.
Love it. Thank you guys for
Thank you.
joining. Thanks for being with us online. And for those of you in the room, we look forward to connecting a little bit more and continue to love God and love people this week. Bless you guys.
See ya.
Out of that is just the most overwhelming feeling that I was just like, I can't do it anymore alone. I can't do it anymore without you. Like, take me, like, I want to let God do it from now on, and I'm even scared to say that because I know I'm gonna have to do it each day, every day. But I can't do it. I can't do it without God. I can't. And my voice is gone because I've been singing to God and I can't do it without Him. So I surrender. I've done it. I did it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have to keep reminding myself. But that's where I'm at. Yeah. Home. Coming into our church, walking into the junction, seeing everybody, reading even the word and connecting with other people that are Christ followers, and even now my connection with people that aren't Christ followers, it's home. There's something in you. Well, not something, it's God living. I can feel it, and that it's home. It's something that's safe, and I know that I don't have to do it alone anymore, and I can do it with God, for God, through God, with everyone around me. I have an army, and I want to be a part of that army for other people too, and I'm excited. I'm really excited.